Okay, if you notice on that last video, it cut out on me, and there was actually some real key things I was talking about the green and how you can turn it into a kind of a gray color if you add some green. It kind of grays it in. Gray or green is an opposite of a red color, so pink and a green color would be opposites. And when you mix opposite colors, it'll turn gray. So blue and orange, or purple and yellow, if you blend those together, it can kind of tone down your color if it's too bright or too vibrant. Also, I added some black right in here to kind of add some shadow. Be really careful with black, because black, too much, I mean, if you look and see, I barely scratched that with the black, and it will put in quite a line there. So just with your shading, kind of play with it a little, but don't be afraid to actually use other colors in your shading. It really can help give a lot of dimension to a picture. I showed a few of those pictures on my computer before, and how those some of those artists, especially the one Jared, he uses nothing but color. I don't think I've really seen much of a black in his pictures, other than unless he has an outline line, sort of like you would on this rose here. But he has really great work with color. I really admire the things that he does with that. Don't be afraid to put some color into your drawing, even if it's just a pink rose. I actually have, two colors of pink, green, black, white, all mixed into this, and I could probably even go through, and if I wanted to, I could just throw a little bit of yellow in there, and it just adds a little dimension and draws the eye as a highlight, on that rose petal. So don't be afraid to play with color. Definitely make sure you've got your highlights right. Make sure you've got where your lighting is coming from, and I'm not saying where the real light is coming from, I'm saying where the light is coming from in the picture. If you look at pictures, you'll notice that there's a specific place where the light is coming from. So the light is not coming down and shining straight into there. It's kind of coming at a different angle, kind of down onto the rose, but to where this is still going to be in shadow. That is how you get a three-dimensional look to a drawing, is to put in some shading and drawing. If you're new to this and you don't want, now I'm very realist type artist, but I would highly recommend, if you've never really drawn before, to pick something more cartoonish. You can make cartoon look really, really great in chalk. I don't favor cartoons. They're just not me. I'm not a comic type drawer. I like more of like flowers and realism, things like that. That's more my style, so that's what I stick with. And maybe you don't know your style, just do what you want. Look at a picture you really admire and then try to copy it. It's a lot of fun to do this. And also, one other tip is that if you feel like, let's say, okay, so now over here, I'll use this as an example. I've got the line in here kind of for the shadow, and I've got you can see the white underlay, but you just look at it and you're like, well, it looks okay, but it doesn't look quite there. The difference between an okay or a good drawing and a fantastic drawing is the effort and the time that you take in it. If you don't take the time to make layer after layer, I mean, I'm gonna probably put 5 or 6 layers on here. I'm gonna just say, okay, well, that needs a little more shadow, and that needs a little more this, and don't be afraid to really step back and get a different perspectives. A lot of time I will step way back from my drawing, and I'll analyze it. I'll say, okay, there's no shadow there, or that looks 3D, but that looks flat, and just analyze it for a minute, and you'll see it. Or even if you can't figure it out, maybe bring in somebody else and say, where does this look flat and where does it look good? And other people can help a lot in being able to point out, maybe, hey, it does look a little flat over there, or maybe something that you didn't notice before. Maybe send a picture, since right now we're social distancing and we don't want to be inviting people over. I know that's a big deal right now, and that's why we're doing this, actually, is you guys are going to have an online activity, which I think is awesome. And this is such a fun way to do it, because you really can see people's personalities and who they are in the art that they draw, because people are drawn to things that they like. So I obviously like flowers. So anyway, play with it. Have fun.